Hey you guys, we're gonna try this again. See if we can't get this to work so that you can see what's going on and what I want to show you. So when you hop on, let me know you're here. And so we're just gonna do this with one camera on my iPad instead of the fancy 2 cameras that I was trying to do and just wasn't working. Oh, hi, Alicia. Who else is on? Hi, Cindy. Oh, good. You can hear me now. Yeah, I was in a rush, so I had to bring my car to the mechanic. And it's only like 3 blocks from my house, so it's not a big deal. And I was almost home, and I realized my box with everything I needed for this was in the back of my car still. So I had to hightail it back. I'm going to hightail it here, and all of my plans on what I wanted things to happen didn't happen. So, hey, Kelly. Nice to see you. So we are winging this, which seems to be pretty on par for my videos. Anyway, so what we are doing today is we are going to cut out a 1-block window. I have panels. Instead of repeats, I'm doing panels. You could do 6 repeats. That works as well. When I am trying to, okay, let me start over. I've got my cutting mat. I've got a cardboard box, and then I've got my 6 panels or repeats, whichever you have. Now my goal is, hi Joan, my goal is to put a pin through the exact same spot through all 6 layers because I want them to look identical so that when I cut my strips and then I cut my sub-cut down into my triangles, all of those, that stack of triangles is exactly the same. So this is pretty organic, but like I can find points, like here's a nice point here. I'm gonna find points that might be a little big. It's gonna allow for some shifting. So I want something that my pin can go through, like right here, and I can find that point easily on all 6 layers. So I typically start in the middle and then work my way to the sides. So if you guys have questions as I go, please let me know. And we will get started. I'm going to set you guys up here on my laptop. It's not doing what it needs to be doing for me. Because again, we're just winging it again today. So I'm going to go through all 6 layers and I'm going to push that pin into my cardboard. Because if you try and do it onto your cutting table, the pins just pop out. So if I give the pin something to stick into, like the chunk of cardboard, then that helps the process a lot. So my first step is I'm going to find a spot. I know you can't see this, I'm sorry. I'm going to find a spot. Hey Cassie, can you come here and be my camera person? That would be most appreciated. I'm going to have Cassie hold this for me. Let me switch the camera around again. Come over here on this other side. And then I want you to hold it. Be careful, the mics are at the bottom. Oh, put my finger on the camera. There you go. So I'm working right here. Do you see that? And I can't see what you see, so we're kind of trusting each other right now. All right, so I found this point on the end of this gold. I know it's probably hard for you guys to see. I'm going to go through my first layer, and then I'm going to find it on my second layer. I'm just going to go all the way down and find the same point. And then the same point here. Now I'm going to stick my pin. I had one more. I'm all flustered, you guys. Here it is. Okay, my pin came out, so now I get to start over. part of the process. It's such a fun process. If anybody asks any questions, let me know, okay? So I can help answer them. All right, I'm going to pick a different point. I'm going to put the end of this curl right here because that seems to be pretty visually, I can find that pretty easy. So I'm going to go, here's number 2. Here is number 3. Number 4. 5. And now we're down to 6. Okay. I'm going to stick, I want to kind of help these line up as I move them back. Because again, we got to try and get this as perfect as we can. Nobody's perfect, so as you're sewing, you will see a little bit of variance, but it's not going to be anything that is going to make the look of the block or the quilt look any less striking. So if you're off just a little bit, it's all right. My goal is to get it as close as I can, but no matter how hard I try, I can't get things perfect. So I know this, and I've accepted it. I am okay with it. All right, so I've got one pin. Look, it's sticking in my cardboard. Thank you, Cassie. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin those 6 layers together right next to that anchor pin. I want all 6 layers to stay together. Make sure I got them. Yep. Okay, now I'm going to do it again. And then I'm going to do it all over the quilt, because what's going to happen is I need to do this a lot because I'm going to be cutting strips. And I want them to stay as close together as I can. So I'm going to pick the tip of this curl right here. Oh, that's probably a little close. I can go a little further out. Let's do the end of that gold line. Wait, which gold line? Okay. See, it's easy to get confused on some of these patterns. But like, you know, the tip of her beak, there's a lot of points in here that you can use. So now that I'm talking, I want to make sure, okay. And the more you do, the more lined up it'll be. There's not as much variance this time. I'm probably about a 1/4 inch off. That one's pretty about a 1/4 inch. And that was number 6. Okay. I don't think we've had lunch yet, so Cassie's over there. My camera master is over there yawning. So you guys are doing okay so far? You understand the process? Any questions? I want that to stand up pretty straight. If it's up straight, then I know everything, thumbs up, everything is lined up pretty good. So I want to pin right next to, keep them all together. Okay. I'm going to work down. Now, when you are ready to cut, unless you guys really want to stand here for an hour watching me pin, when you are ready to cut, you are going to decide on how big you want your strips. Do you want a 3-inch strip? Do you want a 3.5? Do you want a 4-inch? What is it that you want to do? The smaller the strip, the smaller the triangle, and the more hexagons you have to do. So it just depends on, but the more blending. Remember how we talked about blending last week? This one's almost straight on. Last week we did, I talked about different sizes and why I would choose a larger size versus a smaller size strip to triangle. This I'll probably do a 3.5-inch strip. I think a 3-inch is too small. I just don't want to do all those hexagons. It's a lot. It's a lot more sewing, which is fine. But I don't want to do it. So,
are any of you guys having trouble with it starting to focus out? Because sometimes it does that. At least on my end.
What you see is what they see.
Mm.
So that's probably just you're getting too close or too far or whatnot. But that's okay.
Yeah.
It fixes itself. And really, we're doing it on an iPad. This isn't like some big production.
Yeah.
I like to pretend it is, but it really isn't. So I'm trying not to get in your way, but I am. All right. So, things are starting to line up pretty easily now. I'm going to go towards the head so that you guys can see what I'm doing again. I realized halfway through that you're not really seeing what I'm doing. So I got one here. Let's put one.
Maybe like on.
Yeah, let's do like her neck right here. This is one that I'm actually really excited to do. I've had this panel or all these panels for a little while now.
The panel looks really pretty.
I know, it's so pretty. I've seen this one done on the Facebook page. Y'all know that I love Facebook pages. So I've seen it done there. It looks really nice. So I'm excited to get this done. I'm probably not going to cut today. I think I said that. But what I will do is I will show you next week how to lay out. Some options for laying out. And then how you sew it together. Because there's no Y seams. I know I keep saying that. But I can show you on this one that I've started that there's no Y seams. Yeah. So what you end up doing is you'll have your stack of 6 like this. These are 3 inches, so they're small. And then I like to audition them. It really doesn't matter which way they lay out, because nobody's going to go, oh, that's my favorite block, because they're not going to see individual blocks. They see the all over look. So, but sometimes I like to play with them and to see what it looks like if I move them around. So the next step after I cut everything out, so I would cut my strips, probably the width, because this is a smaller strip, and it really doesn't matter if you cut your width or your length, because you're cutting strips. So I would cut my strips, and then I would take my handy dandy ruler, my triangle ruler, and cut out my triangles. And you're going through 6 layers, so you're going to need to put some pressure on it. After I have them all cut out, I'll have my little piles. I'll do my addition, and then you're going to sew 3 and 3. Do not sew down the middle. That's how we do our rows next week. That's why there's no Y seams. So if I were to lay out a couple of these, you can see how we do it. This would be a row right here. This would be a row, and then you sew your rows, and then you sew your rows together, and that's how you get no Y seams, which is really nice. Any questions? If anybody has any? I know I went kind of fast, but so that your first step is to layer your repeats or your panels, which is also a repeat. Pin them straight down. I like to go into card like here, because then I can stand that pin straight up, and it's into something, and it's not going to wiggle. It's stable. And then I'm going to pin next to it, and do that over my repeats or my panel. After I do that, I'm going to decide if I want what size strips, which then tells me what size triangles. This I'll probably do a 3.5 inch strip, which gives me a 3.5 inch triangle. 3.5. So that's a pretty good sized triangle. I think I would like that. And then we sew 3 and 3, and then we lay it out. So I'm going to excuse my amazing camera person. Let her go back to YouTube or whatever she's on to today. But so I just want to make sure everybody understands and they don't have any questions. And if you have any questions, please let me know. But I think that's it today. Just how to lay it out and cut it. You guys know how to cut strips. So that's a pretty easy part. You will run into a little bit of bumpiness with your pins because you want to leave the pins in as long as you can until at least you cut your strips. And then you can take the pins out. But even then, sometimes I keep them in because I'm trying to not let the fabric shift. And when you have 6 layers, it's really easy for it to shift. So my goal is to keep it straight and stacked. That way I don't have any movement and everything looks the same from the top to the bottom. So I think that's it. Doesn't look like anybody has any questions. So I'm going to say thank you for swinging by, and I will put this up on YouTube. And if you want to watch it again, you sure can. Sorry that I was a little discombobulated today and not quite super focused like normal. So, but we got through it and we did all right. And we will see you for the next one, which is how I lay things out. So see you guys later. Take care.